Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of the Bonehead.
Part 1.
Part 1 of the Bonehead Sports Podcast. This will be an NBA episode of the week with your three hosts, myself, Joaquin, Zach, and
Sean over here.
Yes. So, we use Zoom, just to do like a preference, like a preface, whatever the fuck the word is. We use Zoom for, to do, the faces for this.
It's just really easy.
Yeah, but Zoom sucks. And you only do 40-minute meetings for more than two people. So it's gonna be a 2-part. See however long they're gonna be. So
yeah. So thank you for coming out. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube. Follow us on Twitter and TikTok. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. Make sure to download and rate us. And have a nice day. And let's get started.
So I guess we could start with something a little more personal. We've had someone on the show. Zach here went to an NBA game the past week.
So I went to the Jazz Hornets game Friday night, and it was really exciting. The stadium was nice. The game was good. It was close, and I had a really good time. I went with my girlfriend, and we had a really nice time.
Was it just you two?
It was just us two. Yeah,
It's
no
not
one
bad.
else ended up making it.
It's not bad.
And Chick-fil-A was really expensive in the stadium.
Bro, stadium food is
It was $8 for a sandwich. Yeah.
$8?
For one sandwich.
Stadium food is like that.
So I ended up spending $30 for a sandwich, nuggets, and 2 waters.
So that's why I go with my dad, because my dad just pays for everything.
Yeah. But it just looked like the Jazz weren't playing with energy, and they have better talent than the Hornets do, but the Hornets were playing with energy, and you could see that.
I feel like that's been the real story of the Jazz recently, kind of explaining everything that's been going on with them.
Yeah.
Because they've been on a 5-game losing streak, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, and if they carry this into the playoffs, right now they'd be going against the Mavericks, and I see them losing in a series to the Mavericks because they don't have anyone to defend Luka. Because Rudy Gobert can really only be one place at all time. And
they
other
could
than
put
that,
Mitchell on him, but Mitchell can only do so much.
Yeah, you can't take away Luka in that series.
Yeah.
But I feel like if
that'd be an interesting matchup. Luka.
If the Mavericks keep going onto this win streak, I don't think anybody that they have the possibility to face they could beat. At least not easily, because right now they would play the Mavericks, and if the Nuggets win tonight, they drop down to 6, which the Nuggets are up by 20 on the Pacers right now.
Really?
And, yeah.
What quarter?
It's like the first.
It's the first, and they're up 30. It's the first, and they're up 37-12.
Jesus.
But I don't think they could beat the Warriors without Curry, but Curry should be back by then, so I would still see them losing.
Yeah, if Curry's back, I don't see.
But right
Luka
now,
being able to win.
I'm worried for the Jazz because if they are a first-round exit, something's got to change there, and
they need a better forward. That's the reality.
Yeah, because they lost Joe Ingles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it's either Donovan's gonna want out or the coach is gonna get fired.
Nah, Donovan's not gonna leave, most likely.
I don't think Donovan nor Quinn Snyder will leave because they're both big parts.
Nor Rudy.
Rudy and Donovan have had some issues ever since the whole COVID thing.
Yeah, they don't.
Really,
it doesn't seem like they really
gel anymore.
And
I feel like if they get rid of Gobert, they can do a lot more with their team because it's really dominant on both ends. They have a dominant point guard, shooting guard, and really dominant center, and they're trying to fill in the gaps in between. I feel like if they get rid of him, they can do more with what they have.
Yeah, but Gobert. Sorry, go ahead.
We just needed to fully understand that they had a forward that played against the Clippers that played for 34 minutes and had 5 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists. They need a better forward.
And the fact they traded Joe Ingles was insane to me.
Yeah.
But rarely free agents go to Utah.
I feel like they would want to now, just because of Donovan Mitchell, and if they really want to pay, because I don't think they're a small market team.
They're I think they're somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, so they can pay
Jazz
someone.
has a lot of money.
And they have Mike Conley still, and they still all they really need is a forward.
Jazz has a good bit of money now. They didn't used to, but in the past
I feel
few
like
years,
the
they've gained a
ownership
lot.
seems like they're getting impatient because it's been several years of the same thing happening.
Yeah.
And nothing's changed. So they're gonna want something. They're gonna want change somewhere. And I'm just worried that it's gonna happen to the wrong person, and then the whole thing's gonna fall apart.
I mean, that's been done multiple times in NBA history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, look with the Blazers and Dame.
Yeah.
Should just get them out of there. But we're not talking about them right now.
Nothing to talk about for them.
But back to the East, the Nets have Kyrie back full time.
That's big.
And that's big because they could easily play upset to either of the top 2 seeds. Maybe not as easily with the Bucks, but
the presents that the Nets give will definitely be rivals to any of the top 4, to be honest.
yeah. Like, they would probably be up in the top 4 if Kyrie was there all season. And KD, I mean, KD did get hurt, which definitely
they'll have more cushion though. How many games they could have won, most likely.
Yeah. They lost a lot of games when Kevin Durant was out. Like, they were on a L streak.
Yeah, bad.
I mean, Kevin Durant carries the fuck out of that team.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but with now Kyrie coming back, he doesn't have to do that by himself.
Exactly.
And Seth Curry's playing incredibly well.
Andre Drummond's doing really good around the glass.
Andre Drummond's been low-key underrated on the Nets so far.
He's been playing like kind of prime Drummond.
I've always liked Drummond. He's a great center.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he just got shadowed behind Joel. Because any center on that team's not going to...
Joel is a better center. It's just like... Andre Drummond has been in the league for a while now. I don't know how long you'll understand that, but his defensive game and his rebound game has always been good. Other than when he got injured like 3 times in a row. But
now he's also sort of a threat on offense. He's averaging, I believe, 11, somewhere around the 11 mark.
I can look.
But I think he's averaging a double-double, which is really nice and what they needed for the center position at least.
He's averaging double-double, yeah.
And he's just a really big presence on that team, even though he's not like elite, but like I believe that the Nets could make a run this postseason, and Kyrie coming back kind of changes up my bracket that I picked. A while, like our last episode.
When does KD come back? Does anyone know?
He's back. He's been playing.
Okay. Well then, tomorrow should be a very interesting game. It's Nets versus Bucks tomorrow.
I have to watch that. I don't know. It's probably only on NBA Live, right, or NBA TV.
Probably something like that.
Yeah.
That's my guess as well.
I might need to invest in that.
No cap. But yeah, the Nets versus Bucks is probably going to be the best game we get out of the Nets schedule left before the playoffs, because they only play the Hawks, the Knicks, the Rockets, the Pacers.
So they kind of have a paper soft schedule.
Except for this game that's tomorrow. That one's going to be very interesting and definitely going to tell us a lot about how they're going to be playing in the playoffs. For sure.
Yeah. I get an ad on ESPN and the recording probably heard it. But anyway, but the Celtics, since we're staying in the East, I want to talk about the Celtics and what they're doing. And they just lost Robert Williams, which is huge for them.
It's a big loss.
Yeah.
That's like their defensive anchor. And they're going to, let's see how they do against the Heat tonight. But I could see them struggling now come playoff time. They're still probably going to be really competitive. But I could see them not, because like before they lost him, I could see them maybe upsetting one of the bigger seeds, but now it's harder to imagine for me.
Definitely.
Well, that's actually like another standpoint too. The Heat are also like being really has terrible team chemistry out of nowhere, or in my opinion, out of nowhere. It's just been declining
out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I mean that's another team that was supposedly going to be pretty good in the playoffs, and now we got to actually worry about losing in the first round.
Jimmy Butler fighting Udonis on the sideline.
Of course, yeah, that was bad. He wasn't fighting just Udonis; he was fighting Eric Spoelstra, their head coach.
Yeah,
it was both of them.
I think that they'll be able to figure it out, but maybe
Catch
not.
These hands.
not soon enough, probably.
Also, I think what was really bad about that is how Eric's both like how those three were fighting, and then the rest of the team was just kind of like watching. Like how Lowry just walked away. A lot of players were just standing there. Like only one dude walked in to hold back Donis Haslem.
You can really see that the Heat just are falling apart, and I hope they get their shit together, but it doesn't look like it will.
And all season it was like, wait till we get Victor Oladipo back. Just wait until we get him back, and it's changed nothing. He's not playing as like that well. He's not playing like his old self, which after an injury like that, you can't really expect him to.
I miss old Oladipo.
But I think people were kind of expecting him to play like his Pacers self, and he just hasn't done that.
But he came back initially, and then he got hurt again for them, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, yeah, but either way...
Yeah, I was just saying, like, it's just not been a good look for him so far in Miami.
I don't know. I just think that Miami could be bounced out first round if they played the Nets.
100%. 100%, yeah.
I mean, if they play the Nets, they're out. That's for damn sure. But I don't see the Nets being an 8 seed. Well, I guess they could go down.
Or the Heat could also drop.
Yeah, they could go down. That's valid.
Especially if they lose tonight.
Honestly,
they drop to the 3.
I'll say the Heat could go down a lot. It's so close in the Eastern Conference.
I mean, they're still not like a pushover team, so they're not gonna just like fold out of.
I mean, what's their schedule? Do we know?
I think tonight
they play the Celtics. I know that
they play the Celtics tonight, and then
they play the Bulls, the Raptors, the Hornets, the Hawks, and the Magic. Honestly, that's not a paper-thin schedule. The Raptors,
they could beat
Hawks,
Chicago.
Yeah,
they could beat. I think they lose to Boston and
Raptors.
Maybe Raptors.
I also think they might struggle against Hawks if they're still having these issues.
Yeah, but
so like that's 3 games.
I mean, the Hawks haven't really been playing amazing this season.
But they've been playing well recently. They have they've won like 7 out of
They're in the play-in right now.
Yeah,
but they're the 10 seed. Like
if they keep it consistent, they could keep it.
I mean,
again,
the
it's
Pelicans,
just how they've been
the
playing
Pelicans
lately.
are in the 10 seed. So I mean, you could.
I see them playing better.
They're actually 9th right now. Holy shit!
Than the Pelicans.
Yeah, I see the Hawks definitely playing better than the Pelicans.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
yeah.
I actually see the Hawks playing better than any of the play-ins on the Western Conference, other than Timberwolves. Actually, now that the Clippers have Paul George, I mean that's a big game changer too.
Yeah.
Seeing like last night how Paul George alone almost managed to get that comeback against the Utah was crazy.
I turned off the game because the Clippers were low-key getting torched, and I was just like, this is probably going to be a blowout, and I just turned it off. And then I didn't know that they came back and won till like 20 minutes ago, and Paul George ended up dropping 34.
Yeah, 25-point comeback.
Which is ridiculous for someone coming back in their first game of the since December.
Crazy.
Like
that's a statement for
it
Clippers.
Is. Yeah. It is.
Like the Clippers now, and they still have a small possibility of getting Kawhi back, aren't like a pushover team anymore. Like they weren't because their coaching's so good and they have a good roster. But even more now, they could.
I actually think there's another thing we have to consider about the Hawks too. They played really well in last year's playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have played better, but I mean, they showed up. So I'm curious if they do get not just play-ins, but into the playoffs. I mean, like, could they beat?
But their defense is significantly worse than it was last year.
They lost John Collins.
Also true.
That was a big reason why they did win.
And Clint Capella isn't playing as well as he was defensively last year.
I mean, he wasn't. I feel like the difference between last year and this year is not that significant from Capella, but maybe. Honestly, Collins is a big.
I don't think there's anybody in like the playoffs that the Hawks could beat right now. At least, like realistically,
I think they have a chance against.
Like who they'd be seeded against.
Oh, I guess that's fair. Never mind. Realistically wise, yeah, there's probably not. Even a weak Heat and a weak Celtics, I don't think are gonna change that.
Yeah, I believe that even if the Hawks made it into the 8 seed, because that's they're not going to beat
Well, if they
the
get,
Nets.
I'll say if they get the 8th seed, that could be probably Bucks, and that's going to be a first round wipe.
Yeah, it would probably
get
be
destroyed
Bucks in 4 or 5.
Yeah, no, they'll get destroyed.
Yeah,
so that's fair.
But yeah, in the East, I don't know. Maybe the Celtics will drop down a little bit. I don't know. We'll see how losing Robert Williams really affects them.
I mean, I actually think the Heat will go below the Celtics.
It all depends on, because if the Heat win tonight, they get a 2-game lead on everybody, so it gives them like a little bit of a cushion.
And specifically the Celtics too. They also push the Celtics further down. I guess it's fair. I mean, I just don't know if the Celtics lose to the Heat tonight.
I mean, they're both. I feel like
not at full. So
not at full now. So I believe it'll come down to just like at any given night.
Yeah.
Well, it's at the Celtics Stadium too, so I don't.
And the Heat are not really the best away. They're 21-16 away, so
that's not terrible. But it's not great either.
It's not terrible, but it's around average.
Yeah. Pretty much last time we talked, they were dead even average, like their away record.
But
their home record was amazing last time we talked, and that's actually changed as well.
But I'm worried about the Heat. I don't think unless they play against the 8 seed, which ends up being. I feel like they could beat any of the 8 seeds because Brooklyn's not going to get 8, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, they could probably beat the Cavaliers too.
I mean, the Cavaliers are so injured right now. Like, they don't.
Bad.
I don't know. Is Jarrett Allen back? I think he pushed off his surgery. He pushed off his surgery so he could come back, but I don't know if that's going to help them.
Because now he won't play healthy at all, and that's like.
Just the Heat don't beat anyone 6 and above. Honestly, 7 and above because the Nets aren't going to lose the play-ins.
Yeah. I feel like they could. I feel like they could beat the Raptors.
I don't agree with that at all.
I feel like in the playoffs, coaching matters, and Spoelstra is a really elite coach. Like,
well, Raptors coach isn't a slouch either.
I mean, I'm not saying he's a slouch, but like, I just think the Heat have more depth than the Raptors, at least to my knowledge. And it depends on who shows up and who doesn't, really. Because if like Tyler Hero is like being a dud, lays a dud in the playoffs, then they're gonna lose to anybody. Or if like Jimmy Butler doesn't perform, they're gonna lose.
Well, not to change. Well, it was about the Cavs real quick. The person who played for Allen just went out with a torn meniscus.
So they're on their 3rd string.
Yeah. And the guy who was playing was only averaging 5-2 and 1 3-pointer a game.
I mean, honestly, to be honest, anywhere the Cavs end up, if they end up even being the 8th seed, I feel like the season was a success for them.
I don't even think they make the playoffs, to be honest. I don't know if they can beat Hornets or Hawks.
Because if they were healthy, I could still see them being like the 5 or 6 seed. Because even without Allen, without Ricky Rubio, and struggling, they're still like 2 games back from the 5 seed.
I mean, the fact that the Hornets, lately have just also been doing really well. I mean, they beat the Nets, they beat the Mavericks, they beat the
I believe they just
Jazz.
Lost. They just lost last night.
Well, to the Nuggets, though. Jokic is a person to be reckoned with. So,
speaking of the Nuggets, they're potentially if they beat the Pacers tonight, which they're up by 20 in the second, they move up to the 5, and the Jazz drop down. Do the Jazz play tonight?
I'm looking right now.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like they play
don't
tonight.
Play.
So if the Nuggets
they play the
tonight,
Lakers
they
tomorrow,
move up to the 5.
That's what I mean. Like they can beat the Lakers.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think LeBron's out now, right?
No, I think LeBron's still playing.
He didn't play against the Mavericks last night.
He did not.
He's the Mavericks out. The Mavericks absolutely demolished.
He's not playing the Jazz tomorrow.
Yeah, the Jazz are gonna win that.
God, the Lakers not even making it in the plans. It kills me.
And yeah, but
I mean that hasn't happened in so long.
The Nuggets could also get Porter back because I think he's practicing now, and they said they expect him to be back within the next 2 weeks. And if he comes back and plays pretty good, they could.
See, that's a series that I'd be excited for. Nuggets versus Mavericks.
Yeah,
That would be
I feel like
insane.
that'd be a good series.
Yeah. Also, just with the Lakers, I remembered why LeBron is not playing because he has an ankle injury that he quoted as brutal.
Brutal.
Yeah, a sprained ankle. So.
What if it's just fake and he just wants to sit out the rest of the season?
That's possible, but I don't see LeBron.
the type to fake that?
That's what I'm saying. I don't see him doing
Yeah,
that.
I don't see him doing that either. Even if he knows like it's a rough situation right now, I don't think he's a quitter.
I think he would ride it till the wheels fall off, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, he just broke he's second all-time scoring now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The youngest player to break 37,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
He's youngest player to do everything. It seems like.
I think he's made 18 straight All-Star games. He's been good his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe he's 1,000 away from Abdul-Jabbar.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually insane.
Like, yeah, I could see him breaking Abdul-Jabbar's record.
Oh, it's very possible, and that's why it's insane.
He's at least playing 2 more seasons, and he's still. Yeah, go ahead.
2 seasons, 1,000 points. That's gonna be a little rough because realistically, he's gonna get injured again. I mean, not for like an entire season or anything, but like he's gonna get injured. So like, he's gotta hustle if he wants to beat Abdul. But if he gets first, that is insane.
He's like 1,300, 200 away. My math's right.
I mean, I could because he was basically was he averaging 29 this season, right?
Uh-huh. And honestly, his scoring is more efficient now, and he scores more around.
37, 38?
I can't believe he's that old.
Because his game just evolved every season.
He's playing next year.
I don't even when he hits 40, I don't see him retiring quite.
He's saying he's playing until his son gets into the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not next year, but the year after. If he gets drafted, I don't know.
When he gets drafted to OKC.
When he gets drafted to OKC.
That will. I can guarantee that would happen.
And then LeBron forces them to trade their billion picks to go get other people. Because the late GM just does that.
Yep. It'll happen.
And
KD
the
will come
Lakers
back.
are gonna be.
KD, Westbrook's gonna come back.
Oh no! Don't get me started on Westbrook, bro. Westbrook's. He's not awful, but like.
He's playing awful this year. For Westbrook standards, he's not even playing like a good Westbrook.
I'll say you gotta understand. He averaged a triple double for like 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
didn't he
the
win
fact
MVP, right? He won MVP one of those years.
Yeah. And the fact that he's doing awful now is really saddening for me to see, to be honest.
Because his shooting totals are just like he's getting 20 points a night almost every night, but like
isn't he shooting like really bad 3-point percentage though?
Yeah,
he's never been. Okay, hold on.
He's never been. It's weird that he's never been a 3-point shooter. He's been called Westbrick for a long time, and then now the 1 year he actually is like it's bad. He gets like his feelings hurt.
Yeah, but like he was still in the 30s. Like that's not.
His career average is 30. Okay, but
so
this
year 30 isn't the worst.
It's only 29.4. But the problem with him is that he takes a 3 when he should not be taking a 3. Like contested in the corner, games like tied with 4 seconds. You know, like or not 4 seconds. Like it's just like
he's never been a good 3-point shooter. That's just the reality.
They played against the Timberwolves a couple weeks ago, and he missed he airballed so bad, and everyone on the Timberwolves was like,
yeah.
They like looked at it and like were laughing at him, and I felt bad for the man because like it's tough to see a guy who was all NBA like an all-star for like 5-10 years.
I mean, he's also made his mark. Hard. He's only one of 2 people in history, I'm pretty sure, that averaged a triple double.
Yeah.
Doesn't he lead like all time in NBA, like triple doubles?
Mm-hmm.
He leads all.
Yeah,
time.
he has
by a large margin.
The only other person who actually averaged one was I think Oscar Robertson.
Yeah, Oscar Robertson was the last person.
And that was a long time ago. So he still has shit to be proud of. It's just he
definitely
does.
Mental
game is.
It's just also it's the way it's like sports are big on recency bias. So if you suck recently, you've always sucked. That's just what it is.
Yeah. The recency bias is a real killer.
It is. It's the problem with all sports. It's bad.
Yeah, it's everywhere. I would
His
like
problem.
to shift to the Warriors.
Okay, yeah.
And how they're on a 3-game losing streak right now.
Yeah, we suck.
And they look rough.
Yeah. It's the point to where Draymond's like, I don't know what their idea is with building this team because it's not working. Like, it's bad.
I feel like this year is probably the last year that they could be competitive for a title because they're just always injured. And they're getting old.
Steph's injury, I don't feel like was his fault. Like, he just fell wrong.
No injury is nobody's fault.
Well, I mean, but if it depends. If you like injure like yourself, like just running, then like that, okay, then that's like because you're getting old. But if like someone falls on you and you hyperextend your ankle, that's just kind of like damn, you know.
It's just
or same with like Clay, like when Danny Green decided to tackle in midair. I'm not saying else. He did that obviously, but
yeah.
They're not going to win tonight, but if they can even put up a decent fight against the Suns, that'll mean a lot to me. Because if they don't get blown out, that's what matters. If they don't get blown out, that means they aren't completely out of it.
Is Clay playing tonight?
I think everyone's playing tonight but Steph.
I don't know, man. I think it's going to be
another big game is going to be that Jazz game on Saturday.
I think they're gonna go into the playoffs on a really bad losing. I think they're gonna drop down to like the 5th or 6th seed by the start of the playoffs, and then by that point they're gonna play a really strong team. And
yeah, it's not looking good for them.
Now my final pick is kind of scaring me.
No. If they drop down to 5th, they'll win. It'll be fine. And even 6th is arguable that it'll be fine too.
Yeah. It depends on who they plays. It all depends, because
I mean, if they drop to 5 right now, they'd be playing, Jazz or Nuggets essentially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them losing against either of those personally. I will say the Nuggets game tomorrow, not the Nuggets game, the Jazz game on Saturday will matter a lot to give us like that preview. But and even then, if they go all the way down to 6, they play 3rd, and will be Mavs, Jazz, or Nuggets. I don't think any of those 3 teams can truly give them, out of the first round.
Yeah, but is there any update on when Steph is coming back?
Nope.
Still theoretically before playoffs. Just last said.
But that's best case scenario. And now I'm kind of scared about my Warriors to finals pick. I feel like it's looking kind of rough right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I should have just picked the Suns. But since we're staying in the Western Conference, let's talk about the Grizzlies. I was thinking, and do you think if they don't make the WCF, that this season is a failure? Not like a failure, but
not at all.
Not at all. As successful as they hoped.
As long as they get farther than last year, it's an improvement because.
I got a question though. Like, what stops them from getting to the WCF? Who would they play against that would stop them?
Right now, they'd be playing against
Timberwolves
or the Clippers.
Either or, I don't see them.
And
Clippers could
I could see the Clippers at least bring it to a game 7. I'm not I don't know if they'll win, but they could. They could.
I don't know. I don't know if the Grizzlies will let that happen.
Yeah.
And then who would they play after that? Theoretically speaking.
Theoretically, the 2 plays the next
maybe 4 or 5.
Maybe the Mavericks. Maybe
I don't know if they have a team possible of stopping them
also,
getting to WCF.
What happened a couple nights ago without Ja, they blew out the Bucks with Chris Middleton and Giannis by 25 points.
That's fair.
Without Ja, who's one of the best players in the league.
They play surprisingly well without Ja Morant.
Yeah.
I think they're 17-2 without him.
Yeah, they're deep. Their team is very good.
Yeah. But I feel like if they win a whole season without Ja, that it would start to.
Oh yeah.
Fall a little bit, but the Grizzlies.
They're
honestly
9-1.
They surprised me on how good that they've been this season.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this. I mean, I expected them to be good, but I didn't expect them to be 2 seed good.
Yeah.
I didn't expect them to be.
I mean, part of that is just because the Western Conference, teams-wise, are filled with a bunch of people who are getting injured, and filled with also a bunch of one-man armies. I mean, Mavericks and And you might disagree on this. I would say Nuggets too. And honestly, now Clippers. But even then, before that, Clippers.
Clippers bench is really good though. Like they were winning games.
They were more of an injury related team than a one man.
I mean, they're below 500 until the 8th seed. This is a lot.
Yeah.
So it's just, I'm not that surprised personally.
Like the East is so much more competitive than the West this year.
Yeah,
like from
it's
1
crazy.
to 8.
Yeah.
Like,
which at the beginning of the season I would not have guessed.
Yeah, not at all.
I mean, the Lakers, how
the playoffs this year in the East are going to be so fun to watch.
Dude, like, I need to see some of these. I am excited.
Me too.
I'm going to have to sit down and watch a lot of them.
Yeah.
It'd be so satisfying to watch the Nets play the Sixers in the first round.
It has a lot of like what's it called? Like they're really that's gonna sway the entire Eastern Conference playoffs if that happens the first round. You know.
Oh, that's like a WCF in the first round.
Yeah.
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 Like ECF. Or no, actually that's fair. Actually no, that's also like a comparison. Like that is like a Western Conference Finals in the Eastern Conference first round. You're right. Yeah. I mean that's crazy.
Because like honestly, if anybody but the Suns come out of the West right now, I'm gonna be surprised.
Oh, I would blow me away.
There's like the fact they're 61-14 is in.
Like they clinched the first seed already.
Yeah, already.
They don't need to play. They don't need to win any more games.
Only them and the Grizzlies. They're clinched the first seed, but the Grizzlies are clinched the playoffs.
Well, that's what kills me is like they still have tough matches before because they got Warriors tonight. They got the Grizzlies on Friday.
I think they're gonna smack the Warriors tonight.
I mean, we'll see how much they put up. I don't think the Warriors win.
Honestly, the rest of their season is pretty lax. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, the Grizzlies, really?
The Grizzlies, besides the Grizzlies, but after that, the Thunder, Lakers, Clippers, that's gonna be a little tough. Jazz, maybe, and then the Kings.
I think Jazz is worse than Clippers. Even though the Clippers just beat the Jazz,
harder or like
harder, just because of the depth on the Suns specifically, and who's the depth in the Jazz. I think that's why the Clippers beat the Jazz is because where their players are. Paul George was going against forwards who, on the Jazz right now, are dog. So Paul George was able to make it happen. Versus
whenever I watch the Jazz, it just looks like they don't have energy. Like they have the talent, they just don't play.
Mitchell has the energy,
and Mitchell
he can't do it alone.
Energy.
But he's been getting angry recently.
Yeah,
I think I wouldn't be surprised if he's somewhere else next season.
What's his contract?
I wouldn't be.
I would be personally.
I know isn't he on like a? I wouldn't be surprised if he was. I would be surprised if he was on anything other than a supermax.
He's on a 5-year till 2026, so he's there for a long run.
Yeah, but you can easily get traded.
Grizzlies, Clippers, and Jazz. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we're just devaluing the rest of their season. I mean, that's harder than most other seasons that we've looked at so far. A lot of people got Pacers.
But they also play games that are like gimmies, you know.
Yeah, I mean the Kings and the Lakers and the Thunder.
Yeah, that's a good balance.
I think it's a good balance.
Like a 3-3 balance.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting. I'm curious if they just win the rest, or are they going to rest their starters for the playoffs?
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I feel like they'll play the Warriors and maybe who do they play again after the Warriors?
Grizzlies.
The Jazz, the Grizzlies. I feel like they'll play those two teams and then they'll sit the rest. Like if they can, because like the NBA's rule on if it's a primetime game, you can't sit your starters if they're healthy. Like if they're healthy, or they'll get like fined. But like if it's not like
Thunder is gonna be good.
Thunder definitely sit.
I actually think the Suns and the Grizzlies will actually play that one. I don't think there's going to be rest in that game. And I want to kind of watch it if it's possible. But it should be a very good one.
I'll let you guys know we have 3 minutes left of this meeting.
Yeah,
we should all go splits on an NBA Live. Not this season, but next season. Because at this point, it wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah.
It really wouldn't.
But hopefully we're still doing this by next season.
We should. Most likely.
Yeah. But this is the end of part 1. So come back and listen to part 2. It'll probably be out at the same time as this one.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming, and we hope to talk to you in a minute.
You guys, we'll see you soon.